Okay. Um, I make my videos because I want to make sure that when I see this purpose, as they think in their mind that they've made sense and they are just this. When in truth, I want to make sure that as we interact, they have this expectation of interaction. This purpose create a reality where they have orchestrated, and sometimes it's almost mentally retarded. I gotta say that. Sorry for using that word, but retardation of logicalness is truly applied. And I'm telling you, this perps do this in ways that they don't think. It's just almost mentally retarded. It is embarrassing. These clowns are disgusting and they're trash. Matter of fact, they keep telling me how they're gonna frame me, which is an indication of how trashy of human beings they are. And retarded as they are. But it's okay, I put that in their faces because when we face each other, if they make the mistake to think that they've lived they've created a facade that don't seem like the fucking trash that they are. It's amazing. I heard somebody say this, our me time. Now, what they mean is basically when I'm basically releasing myself. Now, listen, I'm sorry if my videos are being graphic, but there's a reason why it's graphic in that fashion. It's because these perps have these disgusting ways of tormenting target individual. They use libido in ways that are degrading. That's something you're going to commonly hear. Libido manipulation is utilized in this degrading way. And then they use this trash. Now, what's happening with me is because they manipulate my brain to have they manipulate my libido so much, right, that it becomes like my arousals are so pinned in, like they just do so much of it that I need to release. Unfortunately, if I let it just build up and it just gets so much worse. Sometimes I even have pain in my testicles. I'm gonna be honest. It gets to that level at some point. So what happened is I have to release. And of course I call it, I guess, me time. Actually, I heard it from somebody else, but I think that's the best way I could have just kind of described this. So I watch adult content and then release. But when it happens, they use these things where to torment me, they make me think of children in my brain as I'm releasing. Because what's happening is they can alter my thought process and make me imagine whatever they want. So during this vulnerable state of mind, they are planting they're implanting thoughts of children in my brain as I'm releasing. It is a degrading thing. Sometimes what I do, I have to hate myself in the brain, which, let me just say this. These perps are so disgusting. And they also try to use these facades of like sensibility and feminism that's so disgusting that they use like terminology like edging. You're just edging. It's so disgusting. And they use very childlike people. They use clowns that like the clowns that will say like, nah, we framed you. It's like, yes, you who are trash working for top tier child porn traffickers will frame me with the psyop of disgustingness that you are utilizing. The psyop of feminism that's disturbing. Nasty clowns. Some loserness of a nature that you can't even understand. Nothingness. But what you're saying here is also they're like, oh, remember what you did when you were a kid. I did this as a child. I did something to, and you hear me say that they did this child. They try to manipulate my thought, my brain to say something that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say, I did something as a child, which they try to rewire into the way they are framing me. Which, you understand, the trash are going to pretend that I raped a child. The child's going to pretend that they're really trashy to a majestic level. It's just magical. It's like, I gotta say, I don't even know trash is the word. There's like trashiness and there's children pretending to get raped trash. That's another level. And by the way, with them is apparently it's that fierce feminism that they've been, I guess, the facade is so disgusting. I always like, before I go back, I'm just seeing the people who encourage these children to pretend to get raped. It is magical. I just love to say that out loud, just to know that there are people who still try to present themselves as sensible and thanking children, like, kids, thank you for pretending you get raped. I love the fact that this is what they are saying, so I can get raped. I'm like, okay, if it takes children pretending to get raped for that to happen, It's tribute for them to. It's my tribute for them to have a fucked up life. But let me go back. Let me go back to this, because these clowns are just magical. They say me time, and first of all, listen. Self pleasure. I don't. At this point, for me, I don't prefer it. I don't like it because I don't think it's good for you. But that's for me personally. But I'm not an idiot. I know that self pleasure is done by many. And it's funny because some of these perps saying like, oh yeah, and it's like masturbation. I was like, first of all, how many times you masturbated this week? As a woman, apparently, on average, is at least once a week. My point is, masturbation on its own is nothing wrong with that. I don't prefer it. I don't like it because I don't think it's good for you, your health as a man. At least it has to be very limited. The thing is, now with me, what happens is when I'm doing something to myself and watching adult content, they rewind my thought process to include children so they can degrade me this way. But to hear this perpetrating like self pleasure is some rare thing. When I'm looking at this trash, I'm like, how many times you did this week? I remember a woman saying that, like, because what's happening today is, I know they're watching me, and I know they're watching me when I'm watching adult content and releasing myself. The reason why I do that is because they are playing the libido. You could hear a lot of target videos say they are manipulating the sexual arousals. It can be very intense. They love to do that to torment you. With me, and then because they do that so much, and they do that toward children. By the way, they do these things when they aim it toward children. It's so disgusting. I was in the office one day, a man who started talking about his baby, disgusting opportunist trash. They start stimulating me, and then to play this game is like, oh, you're gonna self pleasure, because they were making me have this intense sexual stimulation as he was talking about his child. And this opportunist fucker, to make it look like I'm not being manipulated to have this sexual arousals, which is easy, old ability of manipulating the brain. They've been able to manipulate the brain to have pleasure, sexual stimulation since the 50s and 60s. It's documented in a book called Physical Control of the Mind by Jose Delgado. At the time, they were just wiring the brain with electrodes. And he later said that, we could do the same thing. We could do this manipulation using electromagnetic technology that could just use frequency to stimulate the brain in this fashion. But these perps do that to me and want me to expect that, I'm just like having this natural arousal because they're talking about children. I'm supposed to think that's just a natural. This is a grown man that you look at and it's like, I'm looking at books. I can see they do that to monkeys. You think in the 50s, this picture was taken in 1961. You see a monkey just like stimulated, eyes just, another monkey just sleeping. Other monkeys just start mounting each like. And so you want me to let you think that my brain is just now being altered to have these arousals? Like the way these people have gaslighted themselves to think that I'm gonna be gaslighted by the way they act is just comical almost. It's like, do you think I don't think that you manipulate my brain? And then they use very childlike people. It's funny, these childlike people sometimes they talk in this way that like as if they're like some serious, not even serious, some fierce individual. They just clown. Don't even understand what it means, but me like that. I know that even women are self pleasuring. It's just I'm being manipulated to experience that, and then forcing me to have to release myself because of the intensity of the manipulation they make me have. The stimulation they make me have via this manipulation of my brain. So when I do that, even though I don't want to do it, I understand that it's normal to release yourself in whatever fashion. Some do it often, some don't. But it's nothing unnormal about that. What's not normal is the way they manipulate my brain when I'm doing it. It's the way my brain is being manipulated, where I literally have to hit my head to try to stop them from implanting what they plant in my brain. As I'm watching this adult content. That's the things they do, and that's the things that just manipulate my brain. My brain right now, if they're falsifying even my memories, like no, but when you were like this age, remember, it's like you're falsifying that. You're changing my memories to have these experiences. You're mean in this fashion, and you're changing who I am. But you also have to be retards, which is the price to do what you do. On top of the other price waiting for you, you'll see. Then I hear this man who's like, no, but remember what you did for. It's like, no. Remember, you see this picture here? He's referring to something I did to myself that he's trying to exaggerate. That I did to myself, on myself, as a kid. You see this child? Can you imagine trying to be referring to what a kid did? And I did it in an impulsive way that never happened again. One time, by the way. Now you can look at a child like that. It's like this kid can have this child impulsive moments that will never happen again because they're children. You can never compare the brain of a grown man or grown woman or an adult of any gender and say your brain equating to that brain. It will never happen unless you have mental problem. A child that age can have an impulsive act that they will never do again, and that's what happened. Now these perps have the audacity to try to make me think, oh, we're going to make you pay for what you did at that age of that kid, for that impulsive act that you had as a child. Of course, it was inappropriate, but as a child that can do an appropriate thing. But what disgusts me is as they try to act like they're making me pay for what I did at that age. And this me time I did to myself as a child at that age. What they're trying to negate and one thing that they want me to just now think about is what they do to children as they make me think of me at that age. First of all, grown men and women. Seeing what I did as a kid at that age is also disturbing because if it's a me time of me as a child, so that means you're looking at a me time of a child. Meaning you're looking at private part of a child too. You, an adult man or woman, are looking at a private part of a child at that age. As inappropriate as it was, what are you doing looking at a child's private parts? Don't you feel weird that you're looking at a kid as young as that private part too? You're disgusting clowns. That you are grown men or grown women or even whoever you are looking at kids' private part at that age. Listen, yes, I'm a kid at that age. What you're seeing is seeing somebody that age doing something to himself, to his private part. And you're looking at it and you try to even exaggerate that. Disturbing clowns. This trashy lowlifeness. And they play the feminist. You disgusting trash. What are you doing looking at a kid that age private part? And you have to exaggerate that. You're grown men looking at men as a child that age. And look at this. Try to exaggerate that. Like, no, you did it. I did it on myself as a kid. Disturbing trash. They don't even know how disgusting they are. But on top of that, what they're involved in is killing and torturing and tormenting even children that are being tortured in this program. So as you see what they try to vilify me about, please listen to what they're involved in and what it does to children. As they try to make me feel guilty of what I did to myself and to my private part with myself, by myself, no, on myself. As inappropriate as it was, because I was not by myself, but I did that to myself, on myself. And them looking at this as a child, private part at that age, try to negate what they do to children. Involved in a program where they know how they harm children. I will never let this low life live the fantasy. So my target individuals stay strong.
Sure. My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutmann to begin today.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions. I observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe
and have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss, and cancer. Two of my children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. During her pregnancy with Dylan, we were being targeted more so than other times. At the delivery, there were weird men walking and waiting around the hospital. Right outside our delivery room window, there was a white cargo van parked with 2 suspicious men inside. They were there the entire labor, a delivery. Our son had to be transported to another hospital 45 minutes away. When arriving to the Toa hospital, those same men and van were present. Three of my children have severe rashes that have not been explained by several doctors. These rashes have been present for several years at a time. If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner's syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner's syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured.
Why?
Was a mentally unstable individual.
This shotgun is the